Hi everyone, it's Michelle here. Thanks so much for joining us for another Enlightened Conversation. I have a beautiful guest today, Sylvia Mullan, and she's actually joining us all the way from Adelaide, which is cool. It's a town I've never been to, and I'm really looking forward to going, Sylvia, so can't wait to actually probably meet you in person one day. But just for those of you who don't know Sylvia, I'm going to introduce her for you. Sylvia is a spiritual teacher, a psychic and medium who is truly blessed to channel loving messages from angels. Sylvia's also a teacher of You Can Heal Your Life, and I've been looking forward to getting to know Sylvia for a while now. Our paths crossed, I think it might have been last year, wasn't it, Sylvia? And we thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to connect up and somehow work together or something. We kind of knew this was coming, or something was coming anyway, and here we are.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm really excited about being on today and getting to know you better too. And I have a little secret to tell you, that it logs in as Adelaide, but I'm actually in Port Augusta, which is 3.5 hours from Adelaide. So I'm a country lass.
Oh
all the way from the UK.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so yes, so you're in so I see South Australia and I think Adelaide, you know,
Yep.
So where are you? Where are you inland, like up inland, or
we're called the Crossroads of Australia. So to get to anywhere in Australia, you have to cross through our beautiful city.
Oh, wow,
So
that's pretty.
And the late Joy Baluch, our beautiful mayor, used to call us the centre of the universe.
Ooh,
so that was quite a beautiful name for our city. Pardon?
Everybody's crossing over.
Yep.
It's a little joke there. I love that. Yeah, Port Augusta, the place where you can meet lots of people who cross over. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you're a country lass, but you're from UK.
Yes, I came out from England when I was 10, so that was not that long ago. So I was actually born in the UK, and my father had a vision as a little boy to come out to Australia, and he brought us here when I was 10 years old. So I came from Lancashire, Accrington, and apparently that's where the witches are from. But I never actually got to check that out. So I've got on my vision board to go back to the UK for a look. I haven't been back to England since I came to Australia, which was 40 odd years ago.
Wow, so I think you've blue blood.
Yeah. Still a little trip, I think.
But I was going to say, when I was introducing you though, I love that part of your introduction is that you channel loving messages from your angels. Yeah, that's nice. It's better than the horrible ones.
Yes. I channel Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael. A lot of my healing work, the angels come in when I work. When I work in mediumship, I actually see spirit will come through, and I'll see two angels each side of the spirit, and then they step into a beautiful light, and the angels step back. So it's absolutely beautiful when I channel.
I can relate to that, and I was being a little bit tongue-in-cheek with you, because I mean, sometimes we do hear messages from the angels and we go, no, I don't want to do that, but it's for our highest good. So they're like, but yeah, and you're like, no, yeah, but most of the time, I mean, I think they do keep it real though. I mean, I must admit, like, loving messages can be kick up the bum too sometimes, just like any good parent would be saying, you know, we actually need to take, you know, the dishes out of your room because the milk in the cereal bowl has turned to sour cream, and that's just not hygienic. You know, I mean, there's messages that come through that motivate us to really change direction in our life or steer the ship in a more specific direction. And sometimes they are loving messages, but they're perhaps not messages that we want to hear at the time sometimes. Would you agree?
Yes, that's true. I used to
And
refer to it as a little kick in the tushy every now and then, as a little reminder to keep us on track. And often people get caught up in asking, you know, as a reader, and many readers will probably relate to this, that people often say, what's my purpose and where should I be? And
yeah,
what's my focus in life, and where am I heading? What do they want me to do? But this morning before we got on, I asked the question myself, and it came to me that we all have a built-in DNA of like a little GPS of where we should be going, and what our purpose is, and we just really need to tap into that and ask the question. And people say, what should I be doing? And I always say to them, what do you want to do? And instead of changing it from being should, could I be doing this and could I be doing that? And what makes your heart sing, and connect back to you, into the roots of where it is. We often get lost in what other people are doing and try and compare ourselves to others.
yeah, and I think we're all capable of doing everything. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're meant to be doing everything today. I was having a little chat with my daughter yesterday, and we were talking about, like, she's in year 12 this year, and we're just talking about, having to, like, know what you do with your life, sort of have an idea of the trajectory of where your life is going in order to be happy. We're talking about that kind of conversation. And I just said, look, I absolutely don't know what I'm capable of or what I will be doing in this life. And I'm absolutely at peace with that. I'm happy with that. I know that if I just turn up in today and do what I'm guided to do today, that will become apparent, and I will continue to feel that level of joy that I do feel, because I was really excited to turn up today. And so we take the pressure off and we step into where I think the power is, really.
Yeah.
Because if we're busy comparing ourselves with, like, because especially if we get to this level, Sylvia, where we know we're capable of so much, right? And then we're looking at what that person's doing in their way, and it's just like it sort of dilutes what spirit and the angels are actually saying. Actually, for you, we need you to do this today, not that. Or we'll plan that one, but not quite yet, or it'll be a different way, or you know what I mean? And yes. I think that's where we can get caught up in our head too much, thinking, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? When we know we can do so much, that these higher vibrational frequencies avail us to do so many different things. Like for yourself, I mean, you've done a whole bunch of different things in your industry, haven't you? Like you've done, yes. Have you been on radio? You've done radio, you've done...
radio. I've worked with people with severe mental illness. I've been a counsellor. I've been a nurse. I've worked in domestic violence. So I've seen the harshness of life, and I've done a lot of healing work with people, and I've learnt so much from people. People have opened their hearts and allowed me to take that journey with them. And I feel like it's more about being humble and working for the highest good of the people that we meet. Professionally, I've always worked in the caring type roles. And January last year, although I've been a medium and a psychic for nearly 40 years, I've actually stepped up to the plate, and I resigned from my job last year. And decided that I'm just going to be a free spirit and go where spirit directs me. And I must say it's been an interesting 12 months that I've tried to push the boundaries and hurry and do things, and been held back to explore me and ground me a little bit more, and meet like-minded people, because where I live in my hometown, there's not too many people that will step up and say, I'm psychic. I think it's because of that fear associated with a small country town syndrome. And I remember I opened a shop here a few years ago, and it came to me that I had to put angel, intuitive and psychic on the window. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm going to put that in a small country town and I'm going to be labelled, because I'd always been a professional person. But I sat and meditated on it, and I actually did it the next day. I wrote across the window, psychic and angel intuitive. And it was then that I realised that I truly stepped up into who I authentically are and what my purpose is. And it was really amazing, because lots of people in the street were stopping me, and then they did a story about me in the local paper. And my children went to the actual Catholic school, so I was worried about the ramifications for them at school with having it up in the paper. And it actually went amazingly well, because I put my faith and trust in the angels and spirit. I knew that they wouldn't guide me to actually step up in a small town and say, yes, I'm psychic. So yeah, that was my first true, really embracing who I was in my town.
Yeah, wow, that's massive. And yeah, it's I think that when we're coming along in our journey of enlightenment, I think one of the way I see our psychic abilities flowering and our ability to help other people in that way is really part of that enlightenment. And I think a lot of us get to the point where we can do that in this lifetime. And the way I look at it, it's like a big healing around if in our previous lifetime we got to that point and we were not actually accepted. It's like really it's a sort of faith building and a trust building exercise with regards to our connection with spirit, and really stepping out into society and naming it and claiming it that I do have these abilities, like I feel we all do, but you know, actually giving a name to it and being as loud and proud as you are about it. I feel like it is a coming out, and it is a massive initiation. It's one thing to know it, and then it's another thing to do it. And I just applaud anybody who is able to step up to the plate and do that, because it's not easy. And the process that it takes to get there is, I believe, serves us, even though I know it's a service to the world. But I feel that true to, it's about being true to ourselves and really claiming and also practicing and strengthening those abilities. Because I think part of the process of helping other people when we're using our psychic abilities is really about strengthening those abilities in ourselves. So where, yes, we can step into the energy, but you've done it for a long time, and you would probably agree that over that span of 40 years, you have definitely developed strength and fine-tuning your skills, and they've probably grown and changed. I would imagine. I know mine have.
Yes, that's true.
So,
yes. And I think it's being open to learning, and you're not giving up and having that trust. And sometimes you'll seem like you go on a really fast-paced part of your journey, and then you'll come on a plateau, and then I feel like you have to wait, but spirit want you to wait, but you want to get going. But they want you to embrace what you've learned and condense it and practice it, and it's just the most joyful thing that you want everybody in the world to experience. But I think people become afraid of stepping out and saying I'm psychic, or we're all psychic. We're all, because people ring me and go, how did you become psychic? And I go, you know what? You're psychic. We're all born with the gift. It's some of us choose to actually finally tune it like a radio. We get it on the right frequency, and we just practice and embrace it. And they'll say, how do you do that? And I said, it's like going for a marathon run. You wouldn't get off the lounge and just fly out the door. You have to condition it. You've got to practice it. You've got to embrace it. You've got to have faith and trust. And you've got to be very humble with it. And it's, I just love to teach people about it and help them explore their journey. And I said, it's like getting a beautiful present and you just unwrap it all and bring it all out. And once you start unwrapping it, you'll realise like there's so much more and so much depth. You know, like I think back when I first started 40 years ago, I thought, wow, you know, what is there to learn? But I still think every day I learn something new and exciting, you know, and I learned from so many people like yourself and other spiritual teachers around the world. We just, you know, embrace it and learn from one another and just keep tapping in and bringing that energy in and wait and listen. And one lady asked me the other day, what's it like when you listen? And I said, it's like listening to a baby sigh. You know, it's so gentle. But when you build that frequency, you can hear it louder. But she was saying, oh, I'm going to listen to my baby sigh to see how that sounds. And it's such a gentle thing, and you can miss it, you know, as well, as you well know.
Yep. And it's, yeah, and at the beginning, people need to make time for it so that, like, to honour it really, because I feel like sometimes we think, like you said, that, oh, I've got these abilities, okay, now I'm ready. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. But there's a bit of a journey to walk with it too. And to honour that journey to walk with it is really important. And sometimes things, I agree with you, Sylvia, like, I do want to really speak to what you just said before. You know, you're going along for a while, and I'll share this too. I've been doing, I'm kind of midway between recording season 2, you know. So set aside recording for 4 weeks. I've pretty much, you know, done about half the recordings. And this morning I had this intense surge of energy and then a buzzing, and this is probably about 4:30 in the morning, and I was like curious about it, and I was like, oh, what's that? And then they mentioned to me that it was the words that they used were that I had now fully integrated what had been energetically that I'd been ready for, but it still hadn't quite clicked all the way into my being as a full integration and then I felt like the weekend that I just had, which was really a low key weekend, although I did paint off all way, but it was very, you know, like heady, how you can have really kind of busy or heady, stressy or whatever weekends. It was complete opposite. It was just a complete, like, I was the blank wall, you know, that kind of weekend. And I feel like sometimes we just create that. We know, you know, the 2 weeks of Enlightened Conversations, recording almost 20 shows, like, it's a lot of movement of energy, what we're creating, you know, and to honour that's having, and obviously for me, that's having an impression on me. And then I've got these 2 days where Spirit's like, just don't do anything. Oh yeah, paint that wall, but there's nothing. Like, it's like wax on, wax off, grasshopper, you know, it's like a meditative experience, you know, that kind of thing, which is really nice actually. And then I get this ascension process without trying, but it was because I'd honoured the process, because I'd created the space, because I knew not to overdo, because there was all those conversations that my body on this physical plane needed to allow to sink in. Yeah. So you relate to that?
Yes. Yeah. And it's interesting that like I've worked since I was 16, like full-time work, and then I'm giving up work to actually be of service. I don't see that as a job. I see that as me sharing the links that I have with Spirit. And it's not, to me, people say, what do you do for work? And I go, it's not work. It's a passion, it's a love, it's me. And every now and then I do get caught up in that mind game stuff where and I think that's more about the chattery mind comes in and says, you know, but you need a job, but then it'll come to me from Spirit, No, you don't. Just be. So it's been really interesting because last year, I gave my job up, and the town that we live in, the power station closed, and my husband, I told him he was losing his job. So we were both jobless. And I saw the funny side of it, but he actually didn't. But I said to him, you've got to have faith and trust because you're going to get a job. This is what you're going to be doing. So he's got this amazing job where he flies in and out 2 weeks in Darwin and stays in this amazing resort place. And I get to go up there and spend 2 weeks in beautiful Darwin and come back to my hometown. But I guess for me, not having a full-time job was a little bit of what I'd been conditioned to, because we get conditioned as little people that you grow up, get a job, get married and have a family, and that's the way it is. But we're going a little bit against the grain in a sense of like we grow up and we're tapping into spirit, and a lot of people like yourself and me have actually given up full-time work and stepped into our authentic who we are, and actually now working, or not working, but doing this as a full-time service to people, to help people. And I never turn anyone away that needs help. I always embrace it and open up. It doesn't matter who they are or whether they can afford it or not. Always, the doors are always open. But I just find that people always say, what do you do for work? And I think this is a hobby to us. They don't understand that it's a beautiful service that we do to the world and to help other people. And I just want to say to other people that are in the same boat, that they're thinking of giving up jobs or they're in the line of what we're doing, the healing work, not to lose faith and trust, because it's easy to do that and get lost along the way and get caught up in the mainstream. We better get a job, we better get out there and we better work. And like, people always look at income as in finances has to be every single day money coming in, but it's not. You can be so happy even just living in the moment and being joyous and helping people, because my life's changed in so many beautiful ways. And it's not always about people worrying. I find that a lot of people ring for readings for money, like they're always caught in that money trap of, you know, how do we get an income? What should I be doing for an income? How do I get money? And I just say to them, sit and be in the moment and enjoy life. And, you know, don't get caught up in the money trap of trying to keep getting caught up in money, because if you're open to the flow, money comes to you, but abundance comes to you in many other ways. It can be your health and well-being, the love that they share with other people, the doors that open, the opportunities that present to you. And I feel that's what abundance is. It's not just about the monetary side of things.
Yeah, and I think we go along, we realise that, like for me, I don't look at it what I'm doing. I look at it like a service, but I look at it like it's a hobby. I look at it like it's a purpose.
Yeah.
And that the purpose has me in the equation as well. So it's not just a service, because I'm always bringing it back down to how is this serving me to expand and grow so I can serve best.
Yes.
I think that is a really integral part of how I work.
Yeah. And it's having a purpose, isn't it? It's the purpose of helping people as well along the journey, and helping people learn and expand. And not everybody wants to give up full-time work and do this full-time. Other people like to do it part-time, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up. It just keeps coming to me. So I think it's something that people get caught up in and feel like, I know a lot of light workers, as we call them, have problems charging people, and it's a very hard taboo subject for them of, you know, but I mean, everybody has to live and everybody charges for services across the world, no matter what you do. The most brilliant eye surgeon, brain surgeon all have to charge. And but light workers feel like we shouldn't charge. But I mean, I charge people to come, but at the same time, if someone was to say I can't afford it, I never turn them away either, and I gift back. So last year I donated money back to the fires that we had here, the mango fires. We had some big fires around our area. So I think there's a balance of yin and yang that you can, you know, the flow of helping others in other ways is what I'm trying to say. But it is a big taboo thing, and people really struggle with trying to charge people or ask people for money for the services that they provide, and yet they provide such a unique and beautiful service to the world. But it's something that so many, it took me like 40 years to be able to charge people. Like I would just, you know, charge a little bit, or I'd give back, or I'd feel guilty if I charged people for services that I did. But I know people say it's about honouring you and stepping up and all of those things, but you have to really feel truly comfortable within yourself to then be able to charge people for a service. But and I guess what happened to me was I went out of a job and tried to do it full time, and then financially I was struggling, so I went back into a job. And then this time I've come out, and, you know, my husband's got a brilliant job, so I can really embrace what I do. So it's having that faith and trust that the universe will look after you in many ways. Like my husband going off doing his job now enables me to do mine. So what I'm trying to say to people is, don't get caught up in not being able to charge for services, because it's something that people are willing to pay people for, and people love to, it's like gifting back. So if they pay you, then you can, you know, help other people as well, or go. And I've got courses going that I give courses away, so people can come in for free that can't afford it as well. So it just helps people to grow, and I just love helping people. But I know people get caught up in the charging part of our services, but I do so many things I give them to people because I know that they need the service, but it doesn't, beautiful things come into my own life, but I don't expect it. And the most amazing things happen in our world when we're willing to just give to people.
Yeah, I agree. And I know for me, it's like I got to a point where if I didn't do the work that I'm called to do, it would be costing me on some other level.
Yes.
And I don't think people realise that. If you're fixated on what you're getting financially from it, you might be missing what it's costing you, not only financially, because it will, but physically as well if you don't do it, and psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. And so I think for me, you get to a certain point where you can't not do it, and you can't make it about the money.
Exactly.
Because if you make it about the money, you've missed the point. If you need to do this to continue to grow for yourself and to evolve, then you're of really good service to everyone else. If the money comes in directly from that, cool. But the money and the resources and support will always come in to support you to do that. Either way, it will happen. Like your husband, my husband too. So that helps to support my activism as well. Yeah. And have a free community magazine and be able to do Enlightened Conversations. I'm open to grants and things like that from the government. I'm sure I'll apply for some. There's other GoFundMe programs or things like that. Sure, open to being financially supported is simply saying to the universe, thanks very much for helping me on a physical level to be able to help the planet even bigger, on a bigger scale. That's all it's saying, really. Yeah. Because that's where my money would flow to anyway. So it's about getting to that point and admitting that to yourself and being real about that. For me, not to do this is costing me more for me than to do it. I'm
Yeah.
gaining.
You know, it's, to me, it's not about the money. It never has been, you know, but, and I think that's where, if you get caught up in that and think like make it a job, then I don't think I don't think it works. But if you do it from the heart and you do it for the love of it, it doesn't matter, because to me, the money doesn't matter to me. It's like I just get so much joy and love out of doing it that it just lights my whole world up. And people can tell when you've done spiritual work and you've done healings, because your eyes look different and your whole vibration's different. And how could you put a monetary cost on that? You know, like it's just a beautiful thing, and just sharing that with people. But I know people get caught up in that and worry about it, especially if they're thinking of giving up work and doing it. But I think if you're in the flow, then things just miraculously happen, don't they? Look at the beautiful things that's happened to you, and you would have never envisaged that would have happened, or whether you could afford that or whatever. Just the most beautiful things happen, and doors just open in miraculous ways. And it's just a blessing of the joy that can come, but you don't expect it. It just happens, doesn't it? It just happens.
Absolutely. I mean, one might not think that the experience that I had this morning was anything. They might think, oh, what? You were lying in bed, it's 4:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden you feel a surge and then a buzz. Whoopsie-doo. But to be in that experience, and then to get the message, you have integrated what your body has needed to, had to integrate, and you've done it. Far out, man. That's just gold. Like, it's an adventure, because to me, the law of attraction states that how I'm frequency, my vibrational frequency will then create this reality of mine. And so if I'm more integrated and I'm more whole and I'm more vibrating on a frequency that is lifting the planet, then of course the universe is going to send me resources, opportunities, everything, projects to make that a reality. Of course.
Sure. Yeah.
And and I keep getting this message too, where we both stepped from, which is really owning why we're here, to working with others. And I've really stepped into working with others. So stepped into that, what one could say in early childhood development, where you step in from individuation, which is that preschooler, I know who I am kind of thing, to school-age child, which is we are all here sharing and working together, team. And I feel like that's exciting, because I feel like probably for me, I was a lone wolf for so many years, like up until last year. Probably the first time I really stepped into working as a team properly, apart from working in the government, where I was actually working as part of, actually set up the whole North Coast Regional Intake System for child safety as a lone wolf, but worked in a team. So, and I spent 5 years there. So, but actually working collaboratively, I would have to say it would be Soul TV, June last year, when I was sharing a panel with experts and really felt that weaving of energies coming in together. Yeah. And really loving it, Sylvia, really can't describe it. It was just like, oh my God, this is so what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be working with people. I'm meant to be, this is what that's it was like that. Oh, this is the next step for me. This is the next, expansion, growth for me. So yeah, hence I think now things are moving into Enlightened Conversations. So I'm taking ownership of that too. And who I want to work with, and and who I'm being told to.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful joining with like-minded, isn't it? And when I can understand what you're saying about the lone wolf, because I feel very much like that in my area, because there's not many people who have stepped up, but I find there's a lot of people who want to learn, but not many like-minded that have already embraced the journey. So it's more teaching people, but it's so nourishing when you meet someone like-minded and you just want to grab them and and hug them, because you just can feel that heart connection, and you just know when you look in their eyes, like, wow, you're like soul sisters or soul brothers with like-minded, and you just stand in awe and think, wow, you know, like you're with your soul group, and this is pretty cool because we're all together. And I remember spending a week away with like-minded, and I came back, and even my family said, your eyes look so different. And, you know, because I could just see that you'd been with people who share the same visions, the same goals. And when I did the Louise Hay workshop and I came back from that, I particularly noticed how negative people are in the world, because for a whole week, we spent a week doing positive affirmations and doing Louise's beautiful work. And then I came back and I started a barbecue and everybody was talking so negative. And I was like, wow, you know, I didn't realize until I came back from that workshop just how negative people are in the world. And they don't intentionally do it, but they'll just say, oh, had a shit day at work, or, you know, different things have happened to them. But not many people stood and said how beautiful a day it was, or, because we get caught up in that. But it was just so, it just was so amazing spending time with like-minded. And I can't wait to meet you and the rest of the people that you've had on this journey with you. I think it'd be just absolutely awesome, really beautiful.
You know, that makes me think of something. Thank you so much. I'm letting that into my heart space as I'm also, you know how we always do three-way conversations. It's like I'm talking to you, I'm talking to them.
I could see the light bulb going on your head, and my light bulb was going on of us all meeting and all getting together. Was yours the same light bulb moment?
Yeah, I was actually feeling this. It brought me to this sense of that where we were once able to have these awakenings and share, like, say, for instance, this positive thinking that you were talking about with Louise Hay, and a lot of the motivation for that, we would go, I really want to change my thinking. I really want to be more positive. I want to read Louise Hay's work or do her Heal Your Life program. And we did it because maybe our own minds were driving us a little bit nuts, and we really, not saying yours was, just that, you know, you probably just had a passion for positivity, but, you know, a lot of people have that motivation. But then what I'm feeling is that things are really shifting gears. And the reason why people are actually wanting to hold that space, which is the aha moment I had just a second ago, of positive thinking, is because that is the true reality, is that actually seeing the golden nugget in every pickle situation is the reality. And as we do that, instead of coming from that point of view where we've done it for ourselves, where I need to do this because I don't want to go nuts, we're actually realizing that our thinking is feeding the planet. So we are actually feeding the planet. And this is, I think people are going to cotton on to this a bit more and go, we're all talking about feeding the world, feeding the children, we can feed them right now, like with positive energy, like really, like, because we're all connected. So that's the big aha moment I was having as you were talking. And I've kind of shared it about this in different ways, but I was just thinking about it going, oh my God, this pertains to that kind of work as well.
And that's what I've been trying to work on for quite a while, is getting people to think more differently. And it's such a simple thing to do, that as soon as a negative thought comes in your head, that you replace it with something positive. And then I've met people who say, well, how can I think of something positive when such bad things are happening in my world, and my reality isn't that? But I said, well, you get up, and it's a beautiful day. We have glorious weather in Australia. It doesn't rain that much, does it? It doesn't matter. You open the window, curtains, and have a look, and it's a beautiful day. So just starting with something simple like, you know, it's a beautiful day, or oh, I've woken up, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I've woken up alive, you know, and just taking the small steps to bigger steps. And I've worked for a long time in mental health, and that's always been my passion, is to help people heal, because as babies we're born with a clean slate, and where and what point in our life does something change to upset us, and then we end up unwell. So the work that I've always done is the road to recovery with people, so people can recover from a mental illness, and giving them strategies and helping them and supporting them. But they've got the answers are within. It's just that we need to bring them out and help them. And a lot of it is the way that we think about things in the world, and bringing it back and not being so caught up. I help people with anxiety as well, with breathing techniques, and just the way that we think. Our mind is a powerful thing. So yeah, just positive.
Yeah.
I learnt Louise's, went and became a qualified teacher with Louise, because I actually used her book as a counsellor, and I was reading it all the time. But it wasn't until I went to the workshop that I thought, that was only the tip of the iceberg, lady. You've got so much more from a whole week of that. It was amazing.
Awesome. And I think, you know, when it comes to the way we, like when you were saying, people say, oh, but how can I think positive when all these negative things are happening in my life? Then start there. It's like, well, how can you see the things that you perceive as negative things? How can you see them serving you? Because there's so much power in that, it's ridiculous. If you can see that the loss of something is serving you to grow, or serving you to evolve, or serving you to find what's meaningful in your life, or serving you to motivate you to do something different, or serving you to change your perception of, you know, relationship dynamic, or it's a million different things. I mean, I could look at one situation that looks negative, Sylvia, tell you I could write at least 300 things about why it would be serving a person.
Yeah.
And so
it's baby steps too, isn't it? I tell people, like, don't be so hard on yourself, take baby steps. And you know, if you just get up one morning and say it's beautiful out there, and we teach mirror work, teaching people to go to the mirror and say I love you. That's really hard for people to do, to look in the mirror at their own eyes. And I said, don't look at your face, look at your soul, and tell your soul that you love you. Yeah, my kids do this. One thing I haven't showed is my really bad sense of humour.
I'm like, right, I can't do it.
I used to be able to do it. I'm not as flexible. I've got a bad sense of humour, so I'm trying to control this on here.
Oh, no, don't. Just be yourself. That's the whole point. No, I think Enlightened Conversations are about being completely goofy, just being yourself.
People love it when they say, what do you do? And I say, I speak to dead people.
Lots and lots of dead people.
Yeah, that really spins about. You either get at a party, everybody will gather around you, or else you'll be standing by yourself.
That's great. I love that.
You got to pick who you say that to.
But you see all my Facebook posts and how goofy I am. Like, I think one of the other days, like, I said, embrace the inner narcissist. It needs you. Lol, lol, lol.
Yes, I saw that. Yes, I like that one.
You gotta laugh. It's part of the whole journey. It's like, yeah, like, you know, it is fun, and life is funny. Life is hilarious, actually. I just think I have to restrain myself from posting a laugh a minute sometimes on Facebook, because it's hilarious. Life is so funny. So what's happening for you this year? Have you got anything in the anything that you're offering that we should know about, or at least let us know how people can find you, where people can read about you, things like that?
Well, I've got a busy year coming up. I've got quite a few Heal Your Life workshops, and it came to me the other day, a bit like when you were sitting there, that I needed to do some work with women in domestic violence, do some healing work with them. And I really want to set myself a goal of 1,000 women to go through the Heal Your Life program that's been through domestic violence. So
Wow.
that's something that I really want to work on. I don't know why they gave me the number 1,000. I was like, thank you for that. That's awesome.
Sometimes.
That's a big number. But I'm very passionate about that. I'm really passionate about working with families that are going through, both my parents have dementia. And so I provide a lot of healing and support for them. And I want to, I've really been studying a lot of the people in the home, and I've noticed that they are very psychic, these people that have dementia, and they tap into things. So that's a really passion of mine that I'm going to do some work on this year. I do readings. People can get me by phone or Skype for readings, and I'm on Facebook. I'm just getting my webpage redone. So that's about what I'm up to this year, and hopefully to go on and do some radio work. I've been invited to do some of that. So yeah, and just share the love of angels and teaching people how to tap into them. They're so easy and people make it so hard. It's like, you know, they're the most easiest thing to tap into. Our beautiful angels is just to ask, and that's all you do. But people think it's something hard and that they have to really study and meditate for copious amount of hours. You've just got to say, help me. It's that easy.
Exactly. And you know what, if they're having a problem talking to you by you know, your ear chakras or clairaudience, like we say, then they're going to find another way. Like if you're willing, they'll freaking tell you, they'll guide you to a book, they'll speak through a person, you know, yes. They'll make sure you turn up for that TED talk or enlightened conversation or training or whatever, workshop or whatever it is that you need to be, because you're willing.
Yes.
And they work with free will. They are so, like, in my opinion, there's nothing more exciting than a willing human to the angels. Because
they work their little butt off, don't they, to help you. And yes. We're the ones that block them, but they were just so, their energy with the angels is just incredibly beautiful. Incredibly beautiful. Absolutely. And if you're not tapping into that, you're absolutely crazy. You don't tap into it.
Free ice cream. Who doesn't want a free ice cream? Like free angelic help. Who doesn't want it? It's a bit like that, isn't it?
You should give out little vouchers for that. Free angelic help here.
Admit
one to someone else.
Yeah, and you could like have a little ticket. Admit 1 times infinity. How awesome is that?
Exactly. Isn't it sad us humans make everything so hard? I often think that our spirit guides must sit up there and just think, what are they doing? Why do they make that so hard? It is so easy. Like, but I did used to laugh years ago when I'd have a little hiccup in life happen. I'd just sit there and I was so like intent on learning and trying to force it. And I used to say to them when something could go wrong, why didn't you just put a little note on the pillow? Like, you know, why have I got to learn all these lessons? I can understand a little note on the pillow. I'll get up in the morning, Sylvia, don't do that shit. But no, you have to give me the lesson and I have to get, you know, but then I've sat back and the lessons I've learned that have been the hardest and most gut-wrenching have been the most profound, and hand on heart, I wouldn't change them for the world.
Oh, absolutely.
So incredible and so beautiful. But man, at the time I was thinking, like, cut me some slack down here. Yeah, they have really stretched me, pulled me, turned me inside out. I felt at times I've actually lost my faith and thought, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. I just want to go back and be normal, in a normal stream. I don't want to feel people's pain and sadness and whatever. And I lasted half an hour doing that. I took all my angel pictures down. I said, don't talk to me anymore. I'm not listening. I don't want you to do it. My sister was gobsmacked because she knows how ingrained this is in me. And I lasted a whole half an hour because I went down the street and I went, oh, could you help me get a car park? And then I went, oh, sorry, I'm not talking to you, so don't even bother getting it. I'm a big girl, I can get my own park. So I drove around the block 3 times, and each time it kept coming to me, we can get you a park. I was like, I don't want your help. I'm doing this myself from now on. Didn't get a park. I had to walk for miles. And I thought, okay, so someone came up to me and this message started coming. I went, I'm not listening to anything today. Crossing the road, I'll get across myself. I'll do everything myself today. Half an hour later, I asked for forgiveness because I knew they become so much a part of my life that I couldn't. It'd be like turning my back on my children. Or I just, and I think I needed to go through that to show me just how far I'd come on my journey and how much I channeled. I didn't realise until I shut it off and said, don't talk to me, this is all too hard, that I realised that, wow, you're helping me so much every single minute of the day. So then my sister rang me back half an hour later and said, well, what happened? I said, first of all, you don't get a park. And I said, secondly, I said, it just broke my heart because there was so much of me. My whole world is spirit. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
My whole world is spirit.
I'm a bit teary, having a moment.
Yes. That's yeah, I've had quite a few tests from them, but I wouldn't change it because every little test that I've had, every job that I've had, every experience I've had has made me who I am. I can be very humble with people. I can tap into this basket of goodies that they've given me on the physical realm. I can say, well, I've experienced that. I've been there. I've done that too. And this is how it shaped me in my journey, and I'm still breathing and I'm still standing. So I guess it's just having that absolute faith, unwavering faith is what we work towards. Yeah, unwavering faith. Oh, hang on.
And sorry, and until we step through that and realised how big a loss it feels not to have that after having it for such a long time, and we can't really sometimes, like you said, realise how far we've come, and it's pretty amazing. It's an incredible part of your journey, and like you said, you're glad you actually had that experience because it taught you so much about how far you'd come, and so that's awesome. And I'm so glad you shared that. I really am, because I could feel it, like it's beyond words. I could just like literally feel it. Yeah, sometimes we don't like what is going on in our life and we get pissed off with spirit about it and go, what the hell? I'm, and up yours, and we do. We do, and we think, yeah, bugger this. But the reality of that and not having that, it's extraordinarily, once you've had it as consistently as you have, it's like, yeah, half an hour. Like, it must have felt like longer than half an hour. I'm wondering, did it feel longer than half an hour because it was a painful half hour?
It was a long half an hour because I didn't realise just how much I talked to spirit continuously all day.
Yeah.
I pray, I ask for guidance, I'm grateful, I'm thank you when something happens beautiful in my life, and even the simplest things, so I'm so thankful. But the half an hour took ages, and it was just because I'm very in my numerology, I'm very strong-willed and very determined too. So it was like, no. But what I found too is they're very forgiving.
Oh yeah, like come on,
Very
they're just like,
like as soon as because I took the statues down, I took the pictures down, and I put them all in a box, and I just thought, I can't do this. You're not listening. You're not helping me the way that you're supposed to be helping. You know, like I've asked all the way that people have taught me to ask, and I've waited and I've waited, and nothing's happening, and everything seems to be going to shit. Nothing's working out right. And it just seemed that I'd had enough and thought, I can do this better on my own without you listening to you or whatever. But what I found was I wasn't stilling myself enough to really get the right messages. And sometimes you just have to still yourself and just be and not get anything. And that's what I learned in that lesson.
Yes, and be in
I didn't learn that they don't talk all. I needed that stillness. I needed that stillness, be in the moment and just be, and not expect, not ask, but just allow it to flow instead of trying to rush it like we all do. So that was my lesson that I learned.
It's a great.
What is it I'm learning? Tell me. And I had to work it out myself.
Divine timing, honey.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and I find that too, being a Taurian, very determined. I would have, pardon me, I'd have to say that patience was definitely not something that I had developed in my past life. I definitely developed. You okay?
Yeah, I just had to get a picture. My nose is running. You know how your nose runs and your eyes run? Isn't that weird?
I know my makeup's running. Like I've got a mirror right here. It's. I think there is a lot to be said about divine timing, and you know, what I call the God gap, which is, you know, that piece of time between it's basically the piece of time where you're not getting the answers, and maybe you're struggling and you feel like you're treading water. That's a time that you can be in the gap closest to God if you want to, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, by just saying, yep, put my floaties on. I'm just gonna, you know, like, give me a pair of floaties here. I trust you. I need to tread water for however long it is. It's obviously going to build my, you know, muscles in some way, and my faith muscle, and I will be better off for this when things actually look like they're improving, but I'll be stronger for it. And I'm sure that's how it served you, because I've been there too. And I've even called it the God gap for that reason, because it had to happen.
And I think too that it's like that's a beautiful way of saying it, the God gap, because I think we as people are like horses lining up in the Melbourne Cup, getting in those chutes, and we're all ready to go and towy, and you know, we know that gate's going to open and something amazing is going to happen when they all come flying out, you know, the way that they do. But we have to learn to do what you're saying, to just be. And that's what they taught me, is that, hey, it's okay to just be in the moment. It's okay just to take time out and just rest. Because I'd worked for so many years and thought, now I'm just doing what I'm passionate about, what I love. And so I don't have to be racing. I still get up early. I still get all done up every day, like makeup on and hair done. That's just, and I've kept myself in that routine of getting up every day and doing, but each day I get up and feel blessed, and I feel very honoured. I feel very, very honoured to do what I do. There's just this gratefulness and this honour within me to be the link that I am, because it's so important to me to relay the messages as they come and to help people heal them. But I love what you said about having that gap, because, and the little floaties on it, it's a beautiful way to say, because we do get caught up in, we should be doing something, we must be doing something, how come things aren't happening? Whereas really there's no time in their realm, as we know. So they're just saying, well, you know, well, they must sit up there and think, look at them all going crazy down there, like just chill out. So they do chill us out. And I like to think sometimes they put their hand on our heart and just hold it and just be and just rest and be in the moment and allow that time to pass, because it's going to get busy later. So
that's right. Time to rest. Like I did at the end. It's going to get busy. So have a good rest now. Well, thank you so much for joining us, sweetheart. I've just enjoyed it so much. It's gone so quickly. Talk about time flying when you're having fun. I'd like to get to know you, really has, and I'm sure that moving forward we'll have much more contact in the future as well. You're a beautiful being in this world, and just have enjoyed, you know, sharing space with you around our journeys. It's been beautiful. Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I've really loved it. It's been beautiful spending time with you, and just the messages that were coming in, I was like, oh, should I be talking about that? And they were like, yes, come on. So it's been absolutely beautiful. I've loved it. Thank you so much. And from my heart to yours, God bless.
Thanks, beautiful.